Arctic is not just a place of ice, it is a place of pressure. In the late 19th century, it was the ultimate graveyard for wooden ships, vessels that were crushed like matchsticks by the shifting polar pack. But in 1893, Fridtjof Nansen and his crew decided to lean into that pressure. They didn't want to fight the ice, they wanted to ride it. To do that, they needed a miracle of engineering. They needed the Fram. Today, she sits preserved in Oslo, Norway, the strongest wooden ship ever built, and the only one to have sailed as far north and as far south as any vessel in history. Let's go inside. Hello and welcome to Res World Travel. The Fram Museum in Oslo is a world-class tribute to polar exploration, centered entirely around the most durable wooden ship ever constructed. Its centerpiece, the Fram, is an engineering marvel designed to survive the crushing pressure of pack ice by simply rising above it. Visitors are invited to step directly onto the decks and explore the original cabins where legendary explorers like Fridtjof Nansen and Roald Amundsen lived for years in the frozen dark. Through immersive exhibits and a breathtaking Gjoa More, the museum captures the sheer grit required to conquer both the Northwest Passage and the South Pole. It isn't just a display of old wood and iron, it is a powerful testament to the human spirit's refusal to be broken by the Earth's harshest environments. Nansen and the drift. To understand the Fram, you must first understand Fridtjof Nansen. By the late 1800s, the North Pole was the last great prize, a graveyard for ships crushed by shifting ice. Nansen had a radical theory. He noticed wreckage drifting from Siberia to Greenland and realized a natural current moved across the Arctic. His plan was daring: build a ship strong enough to be frozen into the ice deliberately and let the drift carry him to the pole. In 1893, Nansen and his crew of 12, a team of scientists and experts, disappeared into the white wasteland for 3 years. While they didn't reach the exact North Pole, they proved the theory of polar drift and survived the harshest conditions ever recorded. They returned home without losing a single man, redefining human endurance and paving the way for all future polar exploration. The exterior and the hull. Standing at the foot of the Fram, the first thing you notice is the shape. Look at the curve of the hull. Most ships are designed to cut through water, but the Fram was designed to be squeezed. Her sides are rounded, like a nut in a nutcracker. When the ice closed in, instead of crushing her, it simply pushed her up, allowing her to sit safely on top of the frozen sheets. She is built of dense Italian oak, reinforced with iron. As we pan up these massive masts, imagine them encased in frost, miles from any living soul, drifting in the silent dark of the polar night for years at a time. This wasn't just a ship, it was a floating fortress against the elements. engineering. Every inch of this ship had a purpose. From the heavy rigging that had to withstand hurricane-force winds in the Southern Ocean to the specialized rudder that could be pulled up into the ship to prevent it from being snapped off by ice. Life on board. Stepping inside the Fram is like stepping back into 1893. Despite the brutal world outside, Nansen insisted on a civilized life within. Notice the galley and the dining saloon. This was the heart of the ship. Here the crew played cards, celebrated birthdays, and even published their own newspaper to keep from going mad during the long winter nights. These tiny cabins housed legends, men like Roald Amundsen, who later took this very ship to Antarctica to become the first human to reach the South Pole. Space was tight. Every wool blanket, every tin of biscuit, and every book in that library was a lifeline. You can almost smell the coffee and the wood smoke. It's cramped, yes, but in the middle of a frozen wasteland, this was the safest place on the planet. The Gjoa More. The museum isn't just about the Fram. Nearby sits the Gjøa, the much smaller vessel used by Amundsen to finally conquer the Northwest Passage. Seeing them side by side reminds us that exploration isn't just about size, it's about the iron will of the people on board. If you're lucky enough to catch the Northern Lights simulation here in the hall, you get a small taste of the magic these sailors saw every night from the deck. The museum also features a modern cinema that screens an immersive film detailing the high-stakes history of polar exploration. Together with Nansen's photography and the reconstructed igloos, these exhibits bridge the gap between seeing a ship and truly understanding the life of a polar explorer. When you walk these decks, you aren't just looking at a museum exhibit. You're walking through a piece of history that proved the impossible was possible. Thanks for joining me on this tour of the Fram Museum. If you enjoyed this journey through polar history, please like this video and follow for more tours of the world's most incredible places.